Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to my second episode of my new show called Beyond Survival on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. For those that don't know me, I already have a show called This is Phlox that is dedicated to raising awareness for fluoroquinolone toxicity. In 2021, I took 3 pills of an antibiotic called ciprofloxacin, and within 5 months, lost over half my body weight and entered into hospice at 60 pounds. By some miracle, I survived, and I'm still here to tell my story. And even though I'm on palliative care, I need 24/7 care, and I'm literally doing this interview from my hospital bed. I'm doing more than surviving. People ask me all the time, how did I survive? How did I stay mentally strong? And that's what prompted me to do this second show. We have all been through traumatic experiences, and each and every one of us has a story to tell, and I truly believe we can learn so much from listening to each other's stories. On this show, Beyond Survival, each guest will talk about a situation they had to overcome. How did they get through it? What kept them going? What lessons do they have to share with the rest of the world? And what is it inside of them that enables them to do more than just survive despite their less than ideal circumstances? My special guest today is Giusiana Prosser, who currently lives with multiple rare genetic and incurable conditions that severely impact her quality of life. However, that hasn't stopped her from becoming an internationally collected artist and award-winning rare disease advocate. She is passionate about advocacy as the founder of the Rare Living Foundation and a 2-time national qualifying title holder for Ms. Wheelchair USA. She uses her voice and platform to educate and provide support for patients and providers alike. Giusiana's art is another outlet for her mission. She aims to use her paintings to create a visual voice for those who suffer with similar conditions, both mental and physical. And a big, big, big congratulations to Giusiana, because her art will be displayed at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., starting March 13th. Congratulations. So today, Giusiana will share her story about her various diagnoses, how she remains positive and active despite her illnesses, and what advice she can share with others who are going through something similar. And just real quickly, you can reach her on her website at Giusiana Art, or at her name on like all social media. We'll discuss that later. So welcome to the show, Giusiana. I'm very happy to have you here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh.
Am I muted? Can you hear me?
How are you today?
I'm doing so good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
No.
Can you give me a moment?
Yes.
You there?
I am here. Can you still not hear me? Oh no.
You know what? Why don't we do this while I figure out my issue? To kick off the show, you have many different diagnoses, some of which means you had them since birth, which means these illnesses probably felt normal to you. But at some point, when did you start to notice that maybe things weren't so normal or that you were sick? So I'm going to disappear, but please keep talking for the guests.
Yeah, well, so the first time I really, really noticed it and really felt that I was different, I was probably about 6 years old, in kindergarten or first grade. I didn't understand why everyone jumped off playground equipment so effortlessly, why people didn't seem to be in pain, um, because I was. And little 6-year-old me didn't really come to the conclusion that, oh, I must have something that other people don't. The conclusion that my little brain came to was, I must just be weaker. I must not be hiding it as well as the other kids. Um, and I think that carried on throughout my life a lot, even in and out of the hospital in my, you know, 10, 11, 12 kind of ages. I still did not realize something was really actually wrong until I was about 14, when things went downhill a lot more. And, at that point, it did become more disabling. I had to take more breaks. I was more sick. I was visiting the doctor more. And it just kind of kept going from there. But I'd say my earliest memory was probably when I was around 6 years old.
Wow. That's really young.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because I'm also someone that's on palliative care, but I'm a lot older than you. What does it feel like to be 22 years old and on palliative care? And what does that mean to you and your future?
Honestly, it was kind of a shock. It was a hard thing emotionally, but I think it was very validating to my experience of how severe things were, because for so long it had been dismissed and disregarded and considered mild and normal. So definitely lonely, definitely scary, but it was overall just validating. And for what I feel it means for my future, honestly, I feel it gives me more of a future, because if I have any chance at palliative care helping improve my quality of life, I will have a better future, a brighter future, a future with more opportunities than I would if I was just completely bedridden with no care.
Right, because they're there to check in on you and make sure you're okay, which is where you were at before, like all by yourself. So it's just like a mind thing when you're like palliative care, when you associate that to yourself, you know what I mean? That's why I was like, how do you feel about that? Like for me, I'm like saying the word hospice. Oh my goodness, I don't want to hear that word again. But it's just it messes with your mind a little bit. But you're right. I mean, these organizations and services are there for a reason, and we're probably both still alive because of them. So thankful for them. Um,
Definitely.
so the other thing I wanted to ask is, you're in the hospital a lot. How do you keep a lot? I feel really bad. How do you find the motivation and drive to keep going? Because it's like you'll be okay, and then tomorrow you might be in the hospital again. I said, "Oh, poor Giusiana's in the hospital." Like, how do you keep going and just be not be like, you know what? I've had it. Like, this is like, I'm so tired of this.
Being truly honest, I almost every time I am in the hospital, I have that. I have had it. I am done. This is enough. Like that is. I have that moment almost every time, every ambulance, every hospital visit. It it does wear you down. And I wish I could say it's gotten easier, but it's kind of only gotten harder. But what keeps me going is the fact that I know I've made a difference with my advocacy, and I know the things that I do to raise awareness and to provide community and, the talks that I give and my social media posts, I know that they make an impact for people. And if I want to accomplish anything with my life, it's to hopefully make it easier for some patients than it was for me, to give them resources that I didn't have, to make them feel like they aren't doing it alone, because I did feel like I was doing it alone. And I think that, and a combination of my friends and my family and the people that I love, is the only thing that keeps me going through those consistent, I have had it, I'm so burnt out, I don't want to go to any more doctor moments.
Mm-hmm. And you find that you have a really good supportive community around you, like your friends and your family? For the most
Yeah,
part?
I'm definitely very blessed. Most of my friends are people who have, chronic life altering illnesses like myself. Uh, I had a brief period where I did not feel like I had any community, but I have built that back up and people have stepped up, and I'm very blessed.
Yeah. You know, I do lots of research on my guests, except we know each other, so I didn't have to do much research on you. But I also do a lot of research on their platform, right? And I'm going to switch the questions around a little bit because I couldn't believe, like, I almost fell out of my hospital bed when I read this. So I decided to look up, like, how much of a big deal is this rare disease thing, right? Like, because it's called rare, right? So I looked it up, and I went to rarediseases.org, and it says in the United States, a disease is considered rare if it affects fewer than 200,000 Americans. So I said, okay, that number is probably pretty low. But then kept reading. According to the National Institute of Health, there are approximately 7,000 rare diseases. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that was the first thing. And then finally, they said the number is between 20 to 30 million Americans being affected by rare diseases. And they wrote this little thing that I thought was cute. This equates to 1 in 10 Americans, or one of one on every elevator, and four on every bus. So it just puts it in perspective. Like when you're on the elevator and you look, one of you has a rare disease, you're on a bus, four of you have a rare disease, it just, for rare disease, it doesn't seem so rare. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I was pretty shocked, like that
Yeah.
there's 7,000.
And so 7,000 is actually a outdated number. It is estimated to now be closer to 10,000
Oh my
rare
goodness.
diseases. And one of the reasons I'm so passionate about advocating for rare disease is because all of these people may feel alone. Like for me, my most severely impacting medical condition impacts less than 1 in a million. But even though there's only about 7,800 people in the world with my specific disease, there are countless people who understand. And, you know, everybody knows somebody with a rare disease. 80% of rare disease patients have the most 350 have the 350 most common rare diseases, and those are ones that most people have probably heard of, like cystic fibrosis and MS. But most rare diseases impact a much smaller population, and just bringing those people together, even if they're not people who have the exact same diagnosis, there are people who understand the neglect and the diagnostic delay of an average minimum of 4 to 7 years and 17 doctor or hospitals um, before a diagnosis is found. So just connecting people, because individually rare diseases are rare, but together we're not.
Right. It's like when we talk about those of us from fluoroquinolone toxicity, right? It's like the number of 1 to 2% is small, but when you have millions and millions of prescriptions, that number is huge. So it's the same thing in your case, right? Like there may be, less than 200 per disease, but with almost 10,000 rare diseases, like you said now, obviously the National Institute of Health says it's 20 to 25 to 30,000, 25 to 30 million Americans. That's mind blowing, really. And you say it takes 4 to 7 years to get a diagnosis, then I don't even want to know what happens with treatment. I'm sure there are diseases that have no treatment. And if
Yeah,
it's that rare,
only about 5% of diseases have FDA approved treatments. So only
ah,
only about 500 out of those 10,000 have treatments approved by the FDA.
so what happens to the other 9,500? They never have any treatment?
They either never have any treatment, or they just try symptom management, or they're trying treatments that are not FDA approved, and so they're off label, and so insurance will likely not cover them, like in my case. And then that puts barriers between patients and treatment and patients and care. And that's even if once you have a diagnosis, doctors believe you enough to treat you, because unfortunately with a rare disease, you have doctors who have either never heard of your disease or only heard of it once or twice in a textbook. And so they're like, oh, well, that's impossible. That's too rare. You can't actually have that. And therefore, I don't believe you and I'm not going to treat you. And that is unfortunately a very common experience for patients.
I don't even know what to say. I I thought it was so much more rare, and I said I can't wait to talk to her tomorrow because this is a lot of people, and I'm sure
It
a lot of
is.
people watching are saying I have this and that as they're watching. It's part of the 10,000. It's mind blowing. I would imagine, I don't know, that there's probably many people that just pass away from
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've lost many friends due to delayed treatment or lack of treatment or doctors not taking things seriously. But one of the main things I focus on in my advocacy is the delay in diagnosis, that diagnostic odyssey, that period where you are searching for a diagnosis, which takes an average of 17 different doctors or hospitals before you get an answer, and 4 to 7 years. For some diseases, it's an average of 26 years to a diagnosis. However, 50 to 75% of rare disease patients are children, and 3 in 10 of those children die before their 5th birthday. So if the diagnostic delay is 4 to 7 years, and these children are dying before they turn 5, they don't even have a chance.
Yeah.
And it's just so important to increase testing and increase education for doctors, to look for the zebras, to look for the rare patients.
So basically, that's what your platform is trying to reduce the duration of the diagnosis, right?
And also to improve care after diagnosis, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
something I regularly fight. But it took me 22 years to get some of my answers. It took me 18 years to get. I didn't get my first significant diagnosis till I was 18, and I was born with it.
Hmm.
And I didn't get my spinal cord birth defect that is causing spinal cord injury. I did not get that diagnosed or taken seriously until I flew to Spain
Hmm.
at 21 years old. So, I'm blessed that I had the ability to travel for medical care, but many patients don't have that, and they are just left in perpetuity without answers or being labeled as a psych patient.
Yeah, familiar with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people where they can't, where the medical system can't explain an illness. You have a psychological, you have a psychological illness. Even though you're never tested for one, but you're diagnosed with one, which is crazy. They'll hand
Yeah.
those diagnoses out quick, but not not any other diagnoses, right?
Yeah.
So, what what would you like viewers to know about your rare disease platform, like the key takeaway from that? And how can viewers watching this show help support your cause and other people that are suffering from a rare disease?
Honestly, if anybody can take anything away from this, it's that rare disease is everywhere. It's 1 in 10. I guarantee each and every one of you knows someone with a rare disease. My biggest takeaway for that is a lot of the time that is invisible. You can look at someone and not know what they are going through. You can't see what their joints or their internal organs or their symptoms are from the outside. And rare disease patients and chronic illness patients in general are very good at masking it. So keeping in mind the number 1 in 10, and also keeping in mind that nobody owes you their medical information, just being accepting and understanding and keeping that in mind, because maybe the person who's grumpy at the grocery store is struggling with a rare disease. Maybe the person who is, not looking great or isn't smiling in the elevator is in severe pain. Just being aware of that. And if you are a patient, I want you to take away that you know your body best. If it takes more than 17 doctors to find an answer, then go find that 18th opinion. You know your body best, and there is an answer out there for you, even if nobody that you've talked to so far has found it. And as for how people can support and get involved, just raise awareness, give me a follow, work with rare disease organizations and local organizations for specific diseases. There's so many opportunities, and the more we talk about it, the more we can fight for change and help these patients get the life-saving diagnoses and care that they need.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to point out about social media that you just brought up, like the invisible illness. And I think for all of us that are advocates here on social media that are suffering from whatever illness that we have, I think, most people are very understanding and like supportive of our cause, but there are also the people that are like, if you can do a video, you're not sick. You look pretty healthy. But
Yeah.
This is the biggest thing that people need to understand is like this interview is a 45-minute snippet of each of our lives. What happens for the rest of the 23 hours in our day today?
Oh
Do
yeah,
they
I'm gonna have to rest for 5 hours to recover from this, like
Exactly.
it's so important for people to know that they don't have the whole picture, whether from social media or from a 5-minute interaction or even going out in person and hanging out with someone. You don't know what they had to sacrifice to be able to do that.
That's right. That's right. And some people don't want to talk about their illness. Some people don't want to show it. So they're fighting through excruciating amount of pain, but looking okay. And people are like, how can you be sick? You don't look sick. But that's not the case at all. So I would ask people out there watching this for a rare disease or any chronic illness to just have some understanding and compassion for that, for people that do go out and, expel so much energy on this advocacy, like me and you and so many thousands of others, that this takes a toll on our body, and our recovery, but we do this to raise awareness and help other people that are going through the same thing as us. So that would be my little pitch, is just to have some compassion and understanding that just because you can't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And that's exactly the same thing for doctors. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist in their psych patient. So
Definitely. And I mean, a good example of that is my spinal cord defect that, is causing the spinal cord injury. It is only visible on one type of imaging, and it's only visible if I'm laying on my stomach, which nobody images it if you're laying on your stomach. Like, it's always, if you go get an MRI, you're laying on your back. And so for years I was told, oh, it's normal, oh, it's normal, oh, it's normal. Nobody had run the right test. And it took me finding the doctor who would run the right tests. And it's the same. You can't, unless you've run every test, you cannot say a patient is normal.
can you give viewers any advice on how they go about finding that 18th doctor? How do they weed out?
Research, I
Weed out.
mean,
Go ahead.
people, especially medical professionals, they will really discourage Dr. Google, but look for specialists for your symptoms. Look for neurologists who have good reviews in the chronic illness space. If you suspect a diagnosis, or a doctor in the past has suspected a diagnosis, find a foundation or go to Nord and look for resources. Look for resources, and doctors and hospitals that are recommended. I know, like, for me, one of my vascular compressions, there's a foundation for that vascular compression, and they list every specialist for it. And I was able to find one that stayed over from me. And just, find that community, find the doctors, and just don't give up. You will have bad doctors. You will have frustrating medical appointments, but it's, as cliche as it is, it's a matter of picking yourself up and keeping on going, even if you don't have the energy.
Could you explain to the viewers what NORD is? You said go to NORD.
Yeah, NORD is the National Organization for Rare Disease or Rare Disorders or something.
Yeah.
But they have a book of every rare disease. They have resources. They have a program for undiagnosed diseases, I believe. They even have the ability to apply for grants for travel to go see medical providers if you have or suspect a certain rare disease. So they're a really valuable resource.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I noticed them every time I was looking up rare disease, they kept coming up. So I think that's probably a very good resource for the viewers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a little pivot and let's talk about your art, because let me tell you, your art being featured at the Kennedy Center in March is a huge deal. So tell us about, what that means to you and how it improves your quality of life and how you use it for your advocacy.
Yeah. I mean, first off, I'm really excited. I don't even know how much this achievement means to me. But yeah, so I did art here and there as a kid, as any kid in school does, but I didn't really start doing art until I was 17. I had to fly across the country for a major surgery, and I was stuck there for a month in a hotel recovering, and I was bored out of my mind. So we picked up some art supplies, and I started to teach myself how to paint. And when I got home, I continued that, and a couple months later, one of my conditions came out of remission, and I was just in excruciating pain, and I was trying to use my art as a therapy and as a way to process that pain, because it was bad enough that I didn't want to be here anymore. And even though prior to that I'd never really shown anybody my art, I just felt like I really needed to share it in an online support group for my condition. And I had so many people comment and reach out and just say, hey, you've given me a voice. You have visualized my experience in a way that I couldn't have done with words. And that's when I kind of realized, I need to share this, even though it's out of my comfort zone, even though I don't want to really share it, like, I need to do this because it's making a difference. And so I did, and I still will have people contact me online about my art and share their story, or I'll be at an art show or a market, and people will just walk up to my booth in tears and share their story. And it just means so much to me that I can provide that for people and provide a safe place with my art for people to feel the emotions that they're feeling regarding their situations. Um, I, I aim to use it not just as a therapy for me, but to give that visual voice to people who maybe don't have the words for it, and to raise awareness for the things that we go through and the emotions that we go through when we are living with these things, because a physical illness does not just affect you physically, it impacts you medically so severely. And that's what I want to do with my art, and that's why I share, and that's why I keep doing it.
Yeah, and for those that don't know Giusiana, she's actually very like what's the word? Mm, artistic, not just with art. Like you write poems that are beautiful poems. Even the videos that you post on social media, they're so well done. Like you're just a very artistic person all around. And so it's definitely commendable that you've used that as like your outlet, which also helps other people because like you said, there's a lot of people sitting there in pain that are like, I'm not drawing. I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna do whatever. But Jusiana's like, nope, go get me some some paint, and I'm gonna teach myself how to paint and draw. So from someone that went and taught themselves how to paint to having you work at the Kennedy Center, like that's just absolutely amazing. That
Yeah,
must be the best like motivation, right?
it's definitely like, it's definitely a full circle moment. It feels really, really cool, especially seeing as I had gone from that person having my first, second technically, but my first major surgery, and the the recovery from that, and just starting the diagnostic journey as a young adult, and starting fighting that on my own, going from learning art and fighting through that to now advocating for other patients like me, and also watching my art career grow at the same time, is just, it's really cool, to me.
Yeah. It that's why you're on the show. That's why I reached out to you. I was like, this is absolutely amazing. And don't forget the Ms. Wheelchair USA twice. Those pictures are amazing. I see you with the little tiara. I'm like, look at her go. Go, Giusiana.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really good. I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that I've had in the past year, especially to grow in my advocacy and to do new things, and meet more people, and make more impact.
Yeah. So, one of the things we learned today, I want to make sure our viewers take this away, is that rare diseases are not so rare, right?
Yeah,
The actual disease itself may be rare, but due to the vast quantities of rare diseases, it's affecting 1 in 10 people. That is absolutely significant. And it may not be a disease that you can see or understand, and the fact that you explain it takes 4 to 7 years to get a diagnosis, and then once you have a diagnosis, maybe it can or can't be treated. I mean, that's quite a life sentence to have. I
yeah,
think that would do a lot to people's psyche, after all these years of being, it's all in your head, and then they find out the rare disease. Oh, here's some validation, but we don't know what to do with you,
yeah,
right? So that's why I ask, like, you know what is it like, what can you share with the viewers that face a similar situation like you? Like, this is what I'm trying to get to. Like, what is that thing inside of you that makes you keep going, that makes you keep fighting, that makes you keep being an advocate? Like, what is it? Can other people that want it get it? You know what I mean? Like, get to that frame of mind. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
what is
I do. I I think for me, and this may not be something that relates to everybody, but for me, it's wanting to make a difference and provide resources and comfort and community for patients just entering that process or still in the depths of it that I didn't have because I felt really alone. And so even when I struggle, even wanting to stay for the people that I love and even just wanting to continue going to doctors, I think like, well, I have to because I have to keep providing these resources. I have to keep creating this content that is helping bring people to the right answers. I have to keep helping people because I didn't have that. If I can even make one person feel less alone, then that's what I want to do, you know? And that may be something that doesn't resonate with people if they're not comfortable having a platform, but I will say, even if you don't feel like someone sees your strength, someone does. And not to be like, oh, everybody's inspiring, but someone sees your strength and it is real and your struggles are real and you keeping on going is no small feat. And that is something to be proud of in and of itself.
Yep. You make me emotional. Yeah, I end my show with a message of hope, right? So for all the things that we just discussed, seems like hope would be very minimal for people with a rare disease that are just struggling to be heard and struggling for acceptance and struggling for a diagnosis and treatment, which they may never get. As you said, like 500 out of the 10,000 get some sort of a treatment. So what's the message of hope that you can give to anyone that's in your situation, that no matter what they're going through, there really is still a way to carry on, even if your quality of life isn't the greatest, because you definitely are. Like I can't express to the viewers like how much you go to the hospital, and here you still are on this interview, going to Washington D.C. like to advocate, and then Miss USA, Miss Wheelchair USA, and then the art. It's just, you're still figuring out a way how to do all of it. So what message of hope can you give others that they might be able to have a life or something, even though they're in not the best of circumstance?
I would say that beauty comes from brokenness. And even though this disease has completely destroyed my life and my hopes and my dreams and has me in bed almost all day, every day, the best things in my life have also come from it. I've met amazing people, my best friends through chronic illness spaces online. I met you. I created a community. I have my art career that only started because of my illness. There are good things that can come from it. And I will be the first to say that probably 80% of the time, I am not in that mindset and I'm like, man, this sucks. But, you know, if somebody gave me the opportunity to be cured, but that would mean that I'd never have had it in the first place, I would say no, because of the things that have come from it and the people that I've met and the opportunities that I've been given because of my illness.
Wow, that's a very strong statement. Yeah. If people ask me that question, I don't know what my answer would be. Maybe it'd be the same. I'm not sure, but that's very admirable, Giusiana. So, is there anything else you'd like the viewers to know, or anything you want to say before we go?
I guess just reiterating, if you're fighting for a diagnosis, if you're fighting the medical system, you're not alone and you know your body best. Keep looking for second opinions and just keep at it, even though it's exhausting. And you're not alone. Find your community. The internet is a wonderful invention.
Yeah, and I would, advise the users to find you on social media. You have
Yeah.
her name right here, Giusiana Prosser. You find her anywhere, just Instagram. She's huge on TikTok. She has her website here. the Rare Living Foundation. You're the CEO of that. So you like, it's easy to find you. And I think anyone that, needs support or to reach out to you, I think that you're perfectly fine helping people do that. And
Yeah, absolutely.
anybody that has any comments or questions, drop them in the show. We always check the comments after a show is over, so we can do that as well. But I really think you should do yourself a huge service and follow Giusiana. I followed you from the second I followed you. I was like, we started talking. I was like, I love this girl. She's like, has so much life and, so much to give despite everything that you're going through. And I just appreciate you and your platform and our friendship. So thank you for being here today.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, same here. So I guess that's it for my second episode of Beyond Survival. Thank you so much. And I will see you all next month in March for episode 3. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.